The long-awaited Kung Fu Panda 4 has finally arrived, and I've just returned home from the theater as I'm recording this with a head full of thoughts and a notebook full of notes. And before we get into spoilers, I'm going to take a little bit of time to talk about the fundamentals of the film. Kung Fu Panda 4 is very quickly paced. It jumps around from antagonist to protagonist, quickly introducing both the Chameleon and Po back to back very quickly. There have been some changes to the Valley of Peace, mainly in that there seems to be a lot less buildings. I'm not sure if this is just my memory of the village at the bottom of the valley, but I could have sworn there were more buildings than what they show. Po is then tasked with choosing the next Dragon Warrior by Master Shifu. Quite literally 20 seconds later, it's the big ceremony and Po has to choose right there. I cannot overstate just how fast the beginning of the movie moves. It feels like if you blink, you'll miss 4 different scenes. Po ultimately refuses to choose his successor because he wants to continue being the Dragon Warrior, leading into the movie's theme of change and how to accept it. The Kung Fu Panda movies are known for having a deeper meaning than most animated movies, and that's something that carries through the entire franchise, until this movie. There still is a valuable message to be learned in Kung Fu Panda 4, but it's incredibly forced and doesn't leave any room for interpretation at all. Now, beyond this point, I'm going to be getting into spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, this is the official spoiler warning. After Po's ceremony, we are introduced to Awkwafina's new character, Zen. She is caught breaking into the Jade Palace by Po, and after seemingly subduing Po, she decides to just leave. So what exactly was she even doing there to begin with? We later learn that she was after Po's staff that Oogway gave to him in the last movie, but she knows that the staff can't be stolen. It has to be given willingly in order to obtain its power, which makes no sense why she's stealing it, but whatever. She is eventually caught by Po and sent to jail. Not long after, Po learns about the return of Tai Lung, who is really just the Chameleon in disguise, so he decides to visit Zen in jail because she claimed to know how to find the Chameleon. Po wants to find the Chameleon on his own, but Shifu says that the Furious Five can handle it, which brings me to my next point. The Furious Five are not in this movie. Well, not really. Although I did predict this back in January, I was hoping so desperately to be wrong. The movie chalks it up to just they are busy, and Po even has cardboard cutouts of the 5 instead of the real deal, which is so disappointing. So Po breaks Zen out of jail so that she can lead Po to the Chameleon for Po to defeat her. Shortly after their departure, we are introduced to what I'm calling the father subplot, which follows both of Po's dads as they trace Po's steps and try to find their son. And the reason that they are going on this journey to find Po is because they are worried about him, as if Po hasn't proven over and over again that he can handle literally the most dangerous situations. The events that take place in their separate journey are quite fun, but it just makes no sense why they're going in the first place. Zen leads Po to Juniper City, where the Chameleon's gangs have taken over. So Po here accidentally squashes a fruit cart, and the police instantly come after him. And not just a couple of officers either. Like, the entire department is trying to track down Po for this. They put up wanted signs and everything. So Po is now the #1 criminal for knocking over a fruit cart, but the Chameleon's goons, who are literally robbing people in broad daylight, are fine? Okay then. After escaping the police, we meet Zen's adoptive criminal family, who don't really have much to do with the story. Po eventually meets up face to face with the Chameleon, only to find out that his new friend Zen has been working for the Chameleon the entire time, in a pretty decent plot twist. So the Chameleon opens the door to the spirit realm and steals the kung fu of all of Po's old villains, as seen in the trailers. What follows is actually a really great final battle between Po and the Chameleon, where the Chameleon is shape-shifting into different masters the entire time. It makes for a super fun and interesting fight, which I really liked. Po eventually wins and gives all the old masters back their kung fu and sends them home. The movie ends with Po choosing Zen as the next Dragon Warrior, just as I predicted, and the Furious Five show up right at the very end to train her. We don't hear any of the voice actors, however, we just see them on video. That's the movie. To wrap this up, Kung Fu Panda 4 started out extremely fast-paced, almost to the point of it becoming distracting. The film later found its groove halfway through though, and started to pace itself out nicely. This is definitely the most childish of the 4 movies. There are way more jokes and slapstick humor in this that landed less than half of the time. However, the few sincere moments that this movie has are done really well, and I really appreciate how lovable they made Po. You just want to be his friend, he's such a nice guy. The father subplot is ultimately pointless, but it's still fun nonetheless. Mr. Peng has always been sassy, but this might be his sassiest one yet. The absence of the Furious 5 is really felt, and it's just a shame that they didn't want to spend the money to bring them back. And if you're a Tai Lung fan like me, I'm sorry to say that you may be disappointed with his return. His dialogue is pretty out of character, but Po does get some good face-to-face scenes with him that are alright. In conclusion, Kung Fu Panda 4 is still a fine movie. If I had to rank it, I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5 stars. It's definitely the most childish and surface level installment of the saga, but maybe that's just the direction they're planning to take the franchise in. The theater I was in was packed full of kids, and they were laughing at every joke and enjoying the humor certainly more than I was. I know the Kung Fu Panda movies are historically for all ages, but for this one, I really feel like I'm just no longer the target demographic, which is okay, but still makes me sad to see them go in this direction. If you're looking for a fun movie to put on with your family, I would recommend this in a heartbeat. Anyways, that's about it. What did you guys think of the film? And have you seen it yet? If so, make sure to tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.